Tony Gaskins here. Question of the day: when should I leave a relationship? Young lady wrote in and wants to know, like, when is enough enough? And I want you to understand, as adults, we all know right from wrong. We know right from wrong. We know when we are treating a person less than they should be treated. We know that. But see, sometimes in life, you're going to meet people, or you may be the person that you're going to test somebody. And a lot of times, I know with myself in my past, as a man, I would test a woman to see what she would put up with. And so sometimes the test comes and it's a small test. It may be a test like he tries to yell. And if you yell back or you sit down and you listen, you just reinforce him yelling. He may say, I'm going to call you at a certain time, and then he doesn't call. Well, when he calls you the next day and you pick right up, you just reinforce him not keeping his word. He may say, I'm going to be home at a certain time, and then he doesn't show up. And he stays out all night, and then the next day, you just let him come in, and maybe you have an argument, and then next thing you know, you right back to doing what you're doing. And so you just reinforced him staying out all night. So a lot of times you go through these little tests, and it can go either way. It could be a woman testing the man or the man testing the woman. And you're being tested, and they're trying to see how much do you respect yourself? How much do you love yourself? And you may look at it like, oh, this is a relationship. This is a part of it. This goes with it. But no, your relationship is what you make it. Your standards are where you set them. So if you say my standards are, you cannot yell at me. You cannot curse at me. You cannot call me out of my name. If you give me your word, keep your word. The only way you should not keep your word is if there was an emergency. But don't say you're going to call at 9 p.m. and then I don't hear from you until 8 a.m. the next day. And your excuse was, oh, I fell asleep, or, oh, I forgot. No, if you give your word, keep your word. And yes, mistakes happen. But see, this is what I want you to understand. The first time, we can call it a mistake. We can call it a mistake, even if it's not a mistake. Just for the sake of it, we say, okay, it was a mistake. The second time, it's a choice. The third time, it's a habit. So if you've been lied to 3 times, if you've been cheated on 3 times, if you've been abused in any way, physically, emotionally, verbally, 3 times, if anything that you are putting up with that is a deal breaker has happened 2 to 3 times, it's a habit. And sometimes it may be spaced out over 6 months, over 8 months, over a year. But you have to ask yourself, is this a deal breaker? Can I forgive and forget? Not meaning that you won't remember it, but meaning that you can forgive them without reminding them of the offense over and over. If you can forgive and forget in that way, then it may not be that big of a deal. But if you try to forgive, but you always bring it up, you're always throwing it in their face, and when you really sit down and you look at the pros and cons of this relationship, when you weigh the good and you weigh the bad outweighs the good. You are crying more than you're laughing. You are sad more than you're happy. You're arguing more than you're having effective communication. Guess what? It may be time to let it go. And then some people say, oh, well, what if I'm married? That's a whole nother story. And we'll talk about that in another video. But you have to ask yourself, how many times have I been violated? How many times have my spouse or my boyfriend, girlfriend committed a deal-breaking offense? And how has it made me feel? Have I lost all trust? Have I lost their respect? If you have no trust, you have no relationship. If you have no respect, you have no relationship. If you have no honor, you have no relationship. So I want you to think about that and ask yourself those questions. And if you know the trust is gone, if you know you can't forgive and forget, meaning not remind them of the offense, it may be time to let go. It may be time to let them go so they can grow, or let them go so you can grow. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. We'll talk soon.